So hello guys, thank you for joining us today. Today we will have a special guest and we will have a virtual tour to Peru, and it will be introduced by Luisa, and it will be hosted by Joyce. Luisa, can you please start?
Yes, just to double check, you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so today we have a very interesting interactive tour to Peru. So without further ado, I will give Joyce the floor now to first introduce herself and then start the presentation.
Okay. Hi to everyone. My name is Joyce. I am from Peru, and today I'm thrilled to be your guide on this mystical journey. Okay. Today we're going to have an interactive trip. Well, it's going to be general info about Peru, some fun facts, interactive trip in Cusco, the Inca warriors' secret weapon, Maca root, and finally the question and answers session. Well, Peru. As you see in the middle of this kind of college, we can see the flag of Peru. The color has a very particular meaning. The red symbolizes the blood of the people who fight for our independence, the Pacific War. And the white represents the peace and the diversity that we want to share with people. And the emblem here, it's really interesting because it represents three important pillars in our culture. That is the respect for nature and the animal's diversity, represented by the alpaca, that is kind of national representation animal. Also the quinoa tree that represents the diversity of different plants. And also the eagle that it's more kind of represents our desire for freedom. And also this laurel red represents freedom and also honor and victory. In Peru, there's something really particular about the Of course, we have two main languages, that is Spanish and also Quechua, that is speak it as a first language for 40,5 million people, as a second language for 1 to 6 million people. In Peru, there's also a lot of indigenous tribes that talk their languages. So according to the Minister of Culture, there is 47 languages in general in all Peru, so there's a lot of diversity in languages. And something really particular that I love about Peru is the cultural manifestations. For example, here this picture will look more like a kind of draw, something that happens a lot of years ago. But actually, this is something that happens all year by year in Peru, Cusco. And the name is Inti Raymi, and Inti Raymi, Inti means sun in Peru. And we have this big god that is sun god. So this is a reenactment actually made by commoners of locals there in Cusco. And the Inca is represented by an actor that make all of this like a kind of travel to the past to see and to be part of this Inca empire. And it's something really amazing because when you are there, you feel like you actually are living in this culture, like you are really involved in that. It's something really impactful, particularly for me. Another thing that it's really interesting in Peru is this. You can see there's a dance that of course, it's really characterized by the footwork and also the grace movement and the very elegant customs. There is something particular that you can see here. There is a horse. Why is a horse in the middle of a dance? Well, in Peru, the marinera is a coastal representative dance, but it's also have this very particular thing that we involves horse that it's not any kind of horse. No, it's a specific kind of horse that it's just in Peru, and it's called caballo de paso. And the gait, it's not like a normal kind of horse gait. It's actually like a kind of dance when he's walking. So that's why it's involved on all these representation of reenactment of kind of seduction and interactive with this couple. There's also Peru is really priced country talking about food. We have different kind of weather conditions, so as a consequence, we have a variety of different ingredients. And also, there's a lot of immigrants in all the history of Peru, like Chinese people, Japanese, Spain. So there's very different kind of flavors that mix together to make the best recipes. In this case, well, there is actually my favorite food. That's why it's here. It may look kind of simple at first sight, but actually have a very interesting backstory. That is actually something that started with Incas. You kind of made it kind of cake of potatoes, and Peru there's kind of 4,000 type of potatoes actually. Yeah, there's after all the immigration and the kind of multicultural investment there. This finally is the final result that we have there. That is causa. In English is house, and the meaning in Quechua is life or sustenance. So it's something really particular that we have here. And also the golden of Incas. That yeah, Inca Empire is really rich in golden, like real golden. But the golden of Incas is particularly this fruit that is um, just found it in Peru, that's lucuma, and then where it becomes exported in other part of the world. But in general, it was the golden of Incas because it's something really representative of our culture, and it's something that we share in different kind of celebrations. And there is also the cook of rock that in Spanish is um, el pajarito de las rocas. Yeah, it's our national bird. It's something really representative because it's very unusual to see, and also have a very particular mating dance. And the other one is the spectral beer, that it's the only type of beer in South America, like a native um, species. So that's why it's really important for us. And there is also this incredible, amazing plant that is Puya Raimundi. And this is the queen of the Andes. And yeah,
Sorry,
as you see,
how can you please type in the chat the name of the plant? And
yeah, yeah. The name is Puya Raimundi. Yeah, the names are something kind of particular because it's Quechua. So yeah, um, the Incas know more this like the Queen of the Andes because it's something that you can only find in the high parts of the Andes mountains. And as you see here, have this very particular form, but it's something that it's really rare and exotic to find because yeah, it actually can have like reach out in height like 10 meters or to 15 meters, and it only blooms age 8 years. And when it happens, that's something that it's really unusual to see. There's hundreds of flowers that bloom at the same time. So it's something really awesome to see because all the animals in the ecosystems also got like kind of around this. So it's some kind of magical experience to see.
it,
So
uh,
the
from far
next
away,
slide.
it looks like a cactus. It's something related or not?
No, because
No?
the firm is more kind of um, little kind of not bloomed flowers there, but really a lot. So the texture is really different. You can touch it without
Oh,
get hurt. Uh, and yeah, it's actually kind of I don't know how to say this, but it's kind of like this part when the flower is about to bloom but not empty. It's kind of that.
mm-hmm.
Uh, mhm. Yeah. Phyllis, can you please go to the next slide? Okay, these are fun facts about Peru. I think the most um, well-known place is Machu Picchu. That is one of the 7 wonders of the world, and it's ruins top of mountains. Yeah, there is something really particular that I want to share it. That it's that really interesting stonework because they didn't use any kind of mortar or glue. They have this particular technique that it's called ashlar, and it generally consists in cutting like perfectly the empty all of the stones to fit exactly together. And this is how we construct in our architecture. So that's really interesting because even nowadays that they didn't really use any kind of glue, they are well preserved. They're here. There are 2 main parts. There, as you see here, is the rural urban part that, and there is the temple of sun, and also the Intihuana clock that it's a stone. Yeah, it was really interesting because according to the song, they made this kind of astronomic clock so they can know when to start each season of the year. And there's this other part that is the agricultural area. Yeah, it's something really interesting because it's featured with terraced fields, and there they grow the crops. So something really particular there. The other one is Cotahuasi Canyon, that is the deepest, world's deepest canyon, twice as deep as the Grand Canyon. If I'm not wrong, it's 11 feet as the deepest of this canyon. And there is also at the bottom the river Cotahuasi. And this is a very different kind of weather condition. As you see here, there is snow and it's more cold. There's also other interesting animals there, like the Andean condor, jaguar, and also the alpacas. There's a lot of alpacas there. Even indigenous tribes lives near to this. There is the Cotahuasi and Cabano people. The last one is something that I'm particularly interested to tell you a little bit because as you see there it might look kind of a strange draw like but and something really small, yeah, but actually they are ancient geoglyphs in southern desert of Nazca, and they are enormous. Actually it consists on 800 of figures of different kind of animals and plants there. Yeah, in length they are 1,200 feet of length, so they are really enormous. But it's something really interesting because when they discovered this, they didn't imagine it actually what they were, because they were these enormous figures in the middle of the desert. And nowadays, there's still not clear the origin or motivation for the Inca Empire to do this. But the most well-known theory is that they have an astronomic and related part in the Inca culture. So it's something really interesting about it. See these incredible big draws in the middle of the desert, and even that happens 100 of years that they were made, they are still there, as clear as you see in this picture. The next slide, please.
One question. Have you visited
Yeah.
these 3 places or not?
Machu Picchu, yes. The case of Nazca kind of passed for that because it is in the middle of the crater
No.
of the desert. And the Cotahuasi Canyon, unfortunately, is still not, but it's one of my plans.
Okay. You need to tell us whenever you visit so you can tell us which one is the best one.
Yeah. Josh?
I would like to ask about the Nazca lines. Is that the only from the photo itself? Is that the like one part of the Nazca lines, or is there like more of them?
There are more of them. There are other figures like monkeys, also spiders. There are a lot of figures of different plants and animals, but this is particularly my favorite because it's a colibri. It's an animal that is my favorite one. So that's why I share this one. But actually, there are a lot more.
I see. But I thought this represents Peru mythology of sorts.
Like a part of Peru mythology.
Yeah.
It's kind of, yeah, we don't have this, like the most, you mean that they have mythology figures, or that this is part
Mythology
of the
figures.
no, there is no there. They're more representative kind of animals, plants, and some other lines. But talking about mythology, I think the figures are more kind of present in pottery or also in different sculptures, and they're more presented in temples. Yeah.
That's very interesting. I would love to go to Nazca Line someday.
It will be nice. Nice. Yeah, there's an amazing experience there. I strongly recommend it. Well, now I'm going to talk a little bit more about Cusco, that it's a particular um, place that I'm interested to share with you. The next slide, please. Okay, well, Cusco has a rich cultural and historical heritage. As you see here, there's a combination of our traditional architecture there using stones and this technique called it ashlar. There is also the influence of other cultures and other kind of architecture there, like colonialism one and more modern one, as you see on the main square that it's from here. And well, this is a flag that is kind of rainbow colors, and this was the flag actually of the Inca Empire, so that's why there is there also close to the national flag. And yeah, Cusco has a population of around 13,000 people, and the best time to visit is during the dry season. And that's something that I want to highlight, because this is something that kind of mistake that most of people do when they are travel to Machu Picchu, or the touristic part in Cusco, because when it's winter, there is a deep winter, like really cold. It's really hard to go to touristic parts because most of the time it rains. So the dry season is between May to October, so that's why I recommend you to travel at that time. The next one, please.
Wait, sorry, mid-October, you said?
May to October.
Oh, May to October. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, this is kind of fun introduction for the next part that I want to highlight. Okay, Cusco is a city in southeastern, that it's not close to the current capital, that is Lima. It's more like a coastal city, but Cusco is in this other part. And I want to highlight this because before, in the Inca Empire, that it's it was a big part of all the South America part, because they were more larger territory before. Actually, Cusco, Machu Picchu, was the capital of this empire. It was a historical capital of the Inca Empire. That's why there is a lot of archaeological sites there, and the touristic part, the temples. Because actually Lima was not a city, this a city well known because they were the coastal, so they were more kind of not close to a capital. But now it is the current capital, but it happens because of colonial history. But focusing on the Inca Empire, yeah, well, also something very important is that the city is situated in Andean mountains. And why it's important is because this is the main reason why we have all this diversity in water conditions. That's why we have three parts in Peru, that is the coastal, the Sierra, and the rainforest. And this diversity of different ingredients, animals, plants. So that's something really important to highlight there. The next, please. Okay, this is something really, really interesting that I want to share. This is my favorite slide, because there are some interesting reasons why I finally choose Cusco to explain it, because there are these amazing parts that are also related with mythology and legends in Peru. For example, this, yeah, I explained to you the general information about Machu Picchu. Yeah, there are also this other mythology part. Um, the anti-god sends sent a legend couple, to build this incredible city and establish the Inca Empire. And was the part more important, because this is the place where they convergence the Mother Earth and also the Inti God. That's why it's really sacred valley and a very fertile place. And there is also a belief that Machu Picchu was also built by goddess and giants. As you see here, I will explain a little bit of it here. At first look, it can look like normal mountains, but if you kind of look more on the other side, you can see that there is profile face um, thing here. Like if you see here, there's the nose, the mouth, the jawline, the forehead, and the eyes. And there is not the only place that actually have this kind of features in Peru. So that's why we strongly believe in giants and the commitment that they have, and the also the connection that have goddess. There is of course also people that get involved in this construction too. Well, there is this other part that is Morai, is an archaeological site that have this particular form. This is believed that also was a gift of goddess to the Inca Empire, because this was the kind of most important things for kind of a laboratory to find the ideal conditions to make the agriculture to do the sow and harvest, especially in for the corn. That was also kind of the most important resources at that time. And yeah, these terraced fields also were really important to develop the ideal conditions for other ingredients, for example, potatoes, yuca, that is something like a sweet potato, in English, sweet potato yuca. And yeah, there's something really interesting here. As you see here, they have this particular, and Peru, you can see really that it's kind of terraced fields in most of the architecture there. And the Vinicunca mountain, it's in Cusco too. The Vinicunca Rainbow Mountain, or also the Seven Colors Mountain. It's a mountain that have these particular colors that are as vibrant as you see here. And this happens because we have a lot of diversity too in rocks and minerals there. There is a variety of different minerals like sulfur, copper, and other minerals that finally made these kind of interesting mountains there. And finally is this other, that it's an archaeological site, yeah, but a fortress at the time for the Inca Empire warriors, that is Sacsayhuaman, and have these particular blocks, as you see in this part, a kind of zigzag. But there's also used this stonework called ashlar, so they didn't use quarter. Yeah, as you see here, these have this particular construction, like kind of a puzzle here, and it happens because they want to adapt this territory, like being really respectful with the natural form that they have. Our culture is really characterized by this respectful to Mother Earth that is called Pachamama. Yet calling to trying to use the natural resources to do this. This is something that not just happened in this archaeological site, also happens in Rai and Machu Picchu, that we have these terraced fields because we have to use it as best as possible, the natural resources, for example, different kind of the conditions of temperatures there, and also the rains, because the first part is more like plants or things that needs more water, and the bottom of the terraced fields use other kind of ingredients. So it's something really particular that I want to highlight here. And also the Sacsayhuaman archaeological site is believed that was created by giants. There was another thing there, but there is not in this picture. Like these figures of giants there, and also it's like a kind of gift of goddess to the Inca Empire warriors there. Um, Also, there is something really, really particular in Cusco that make a difference from other part of Peru. That people is more involved in traditional clothes, because yeah, the clothes are not just interesting or attractive because of the vibrant colors, but also these all designers have a representation of different part of our cultures, like mountains, like natural flowers, like representative flowers or animals that are presented in their regions. So it's something really particular that I want to highlight this. And also the llamas, because it's more usual or common to find llamas and kind of um, have able to be to take a photo with them or also to hug them. So the llamas are really important also in our culture because they were the first domesticated animals that we manage here and use it in our agriculture and also in religious um, traditions. So yeah, they're really important too. And the main square of Cusco is very interesting place because it's like a mix of these story parts. There are a lot of tradition references there. Also kind of influence of other cultures here. So it's something really particular to see because you can meet there a lot of people from all around the world that travel to Cusco um, to kind of visit these old incredible places. And the main square is more influenced by the architecture of other parts of the world, like more European one, but also use this traditional technique that is large. So it's something really interesting to see and visit too. And the next slide, please.
Actually, in the main square of Cusco, in the middle, there is a church, a tower. What's that building?
Ah, the over there, the other picture, like in the
Yeah,
middle. Yeah, there is.
yeah, that
Yeah,
one.
there is a church actually, and it's something really interesting because it's not a traditional church. It's more a Catholic one, but yeah, it's part of Catholic. Catholic religion is important nowadays in our culture, but it's not like a traditional church. There are other parts like the Temple of the Sun. It's in Machu Picchu that's more kind of um, traditional religious. That is like kind of Inti Raimi, Inti God, or Pachamama, another part. Apus.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, it's something that I forgot. That's really important. Can you please go to the mirror slide? So yeah, something that it's really important to in our culture is also the belief of the spirits of mountains that it's called apus there, that kind of are really blessing spirits when you are a grateful person. For example, and they change depending of kind of mountain. For example, in a mountain, there are also the apus, and if you give a kind of grateful to the earth, there is a Peruvian tradition to feed in the earth. So if you do this process and being really truthfully grateful for the earth and um, you're going to be blessed with fertility. That's something particular in Vinicunca mountain, but there are also other mountains more on the character that are more kind of punished spirits if you don't do this process. But it's something really particular there. Yeah. Now for the next slide, please. Okay, now we are starting an interactive trip. And yeah, this will be an epic adventure, and we are going to into the heart of Cusco and more know about the culture. Yeah. So what are we waiting for? The next slide, please.
Okay, so we are going to use Slido. So you can go to slido.com and also put in the codes. Raphael, can you maybe put also the code in the chat?
Yeah, but okay, let me type in the chat then. We need the hashtag or not?
No, the Slido just puts that in automatically.
Okay. There you go. Slido, let me enter.
Yes, and everybody can participate, also coaches and admin. You can continue to join, especially also since the code is in the chat. But first, Joyce is going to explain the options, and after that, the poll will come. So you have some time to join if you did not yet have the opportunity.
Okay, the three activities are three options. Something really interesting there. And the first one is participating in an Andean ceremony, as I mentioned it before, like kind of grateful for the mountains and mountain spirits Apus. And it's also a ceremony for the Pachamama, that is more air. And something really particular that you can only do in Peru, so it's really interesting. The second activity is visiting the Chinchero market. That it's a market where you can actually meet traditional people there and using clothing, traditional clothing, and sell different kind of products there. As you can interact with them, they can tell you more about my legends and cultural things there, and also you can kind of acquire different stuff, different kind of products that are cheaper, at least in comparison with other touristic parts too. But it's also really interesting because you can find different stuff, like more cultural, for example, different dolls that have their own powers, and also special clothes that are kind of considered high coster there because they are all handicraft. The third activity is learning to make traditional Peruvian pottery. Yeah, it's more kind of involving activity because through pottery you can learn a lot about the cultural traditions and beliefs there. So there are three interesting options. Yeah, you can choose the thing that is more interesting to you.
Yes, so now the poll should be on your screen and you can pick one of the three options.
There,
We need more votes because we now have a tie. Okay, I see.
interesting. Wasn't
Okay.
expected.
Yeah. Okay, so I see we have one clear winner, which is the Chinchero markets. And I see that both the other things are in the second place. So time-wise, let's now go to the Chinchero markets.
Yeah, well, now we are in the Chinchero market. And this is a really interesting, as I mentioned before, there is a lot of people there that is using these traditional clothes and have these unique and authentic products from the region that only can be found here. Each of these products is made by hand and have their own unique designs. So it's an really interesting experience that you can find here because there are products that you will not find in other part of the world. Each of them are unique and special. Even it can be personalized, but most of the time they're like pre pre-constructed. This there are not just clothes or accessories. There are a lot of things, as I mentioned before. There's also kind of bags or also some dolls that have their own specific powers. For example, yeah, most of you must know about voodoo dolls. There's kind of these things in Peru. They have other kind of powers. Like whereas they believe that specific kind of dolls can be guardians of your house, so they have these protective um, characteristics, and also other are more like for fertility, or they're other kind of um, bracelets for love. So it's something really interesting there. These products are really unique and have their own special properties. But it's also interesting with talking with people here because they are really interactive, and also you can learn a little bit about the other language that we speak here, like it's Quechua, because yeah, they kind of explain a little bit about the culture. Each of them kind of made a personal storytelling about their products and also their culture and traditions. So it's something really interesting if you're going to Cusco. Of course, you have to visit Chinchero Market. Because of also for all this amazing experience, also the products are kind of cheaper as expected. It's something that it's really interesting too. Also because yeah, living all these new experience also allow you to interact with more people all around the world. Because this is a very other touristic part of Cusco, but it's more kind of knowing how to works the economic part here. So that's kind of a summary of Chinchero Market. Well, now for the hotels, well, it's a similar kind of interactive thing. So I want to explain a little bit about the three options. The Bilbon Palazzo Nazarenas. It's more kind of luxury experience here, and it's well-known hotel all around the world. But something really interesting to know more about this hotel because of the kind of background story. The Joe Marriott El Convento. It's interesting too because it's a kind of restored monastery, so you can know more about the colonialism part in that has in Cusco. And the Inca Terra La Casona, it's more a traditional one, as you see here. It's not as luxury as the other options, but it's interesting because of the architecture and also the traditional festivities that they have here with all the people that it's living in the hotel at the time. As you see here, there are particular rocks that if you choose it, I will going to explain. So now choose your option.
Okay, so but now we have a tie between the Belmont and the Incatero. Let's see if we can get any more votes that will decide upon which one we're going to visit. We need one more vote as a tiebreaker. Okay. So then I see we have a winner and we're going to the luxury hotel Belmont Palacia.
Okay. Belon Palacio Nazarenas is a luxury hotel. It's a five-star hotel in Peru, and it's one of these galardoned places. They have different spaces that make a good combination between luxury and also traditional parts. As you see here, we have this incredible pool there that have their own systems of work according to the preferences of whether that the people in the hotel have, the different guests. But also we have this kind of representation of the main square, but smaller, of course, in this hotel where the hotel service made representation of different festivities and also representation of different traditions and legends there, like in all the weekends. So it's something really interesting that I have to. It's this is also monastery storage that was built at the 16th century. It's really interesting to see this new kind of modern architecture to the traditional one and the most colonialism part, and also have this beautiful part that it's using the ashlar technique that it's more traditional one. And something really particular in the Belmont as Palacio Nazarenas is also that have one of the best restaurants. But I will explain it that later. Have these incredible big rooms that have kind of little house architecture. As you see here, have this old traditional part, but also it's mixed with luxury um, and this other incredible service. It's have a very particular service because it's well prepared for different languages around the world, so you don't have to adapt yourself just in English, because this hotel is a 5 star, so they are prepared to all the needs and the things that you have, and also are well known about the different traditions and histories, and also give good recommendations from if you are traveling there. So that's kind of a little bit information about Belmont Palace in Athens.
One question. Do you know how much is it?
Yeah, it's really expensive. It can be like $5,000 a weekend. So it's something that
$5,000.
yeah, it's really expensive, but the service is really good too. But it's the most expensive hotel, one of the most expensive hotels here. But it's really well known.
We have a question from Yash as well. What is your favorite part of Belmont Palacio Nazarenas?
Well, personally speaking, not about the culture, but in general as a person, I really like a lot the pool part because it's really particular. It's not in like kind of the middle, it's more on the top. They made really incredible parties as they're well known on the city. So it's something that I like it, but I also like it. The other part, the part the how do you say this in English? Kind of the door, because we have this other particular part that use ashlar. So I like that part too.
Thank you.
Okay, now about the restaurants. Okay, this is a really important decision here because 3 options are incredible restaurants that have their own magic experience here. If you want to know more about the classic dishes and recipes of Peru, Chicha is the best option for you. Because yeah, I can't say it a lot about it, but they are more affordable experience in Cusco. There is also a very particular representative character here. So Chicha is why Chicha also, but I'm not going to explain that. Well, but yeah, I can do it, right? Chicha is named by, it's called like this because of a representative beer of corn that we have here. Our corn is it's purple actually. That's why it's very particular this beer. Um, and yeah, it's really that representative. That's why this is the name of the restaurant. It's a priced and gala night restaurant. Well, the three of them are really priced. For example, the Map Cafe. It's really it's priced with the summon prize, the second place. And summon is a competition, national competition for all the best chefs in Peru. So it's really hard to kind of decide one, but they have the second places. And here it's one of the 50 best restaurants in all South America. And this boat has something interesting about the the food in Peru because they are not classic dishes there, but they are kind of representation reinterpretations of classical recipes and use other interesting ingredients. So yeah, there are the 3 options here.
Okay, so now everybody can vote for their option. So I see that Chica and Kyole are tied for now. So let's see if we can get any more votes to determine a winner. Okay, and I see Kyole has the most votes for now. And since we have 5 minutes left, we're going to now discuss this option.
Okay. Well, here, as you see here, have this high quality dishes food and presentation. It's a very luxury place here. Kyoye, it's actually in Belmont Palace, Las Arenas, that we visited before. Yeah, it's one of the. This is a restaurant that is leading by a woman. I really don't know what chef here that it's Pia Leon. I have this reinterpretation of traditional food in Peru. For example, this is piadito de trucha, and this is a grilled alpaca using this other sauce that it's made of other dish, the other Peruvian dish that is lomo saltado, and have this other peculiar herbs also that are laurel, if I'm not wrong. But they have other patty, other things really interesting, like ceviche, causa, but they have their own representation and modern techniques to to prepare the dishes. All this is a luxury but interesting technique that is represented by a high quality service here, where all kind of dishes have their own story and their own great interpretation. For example, in this grilled alpaca, they have these herbs and also these little flowers that are affordable to eat because they are more kind of a reinterpretation of natural beauty. Also about kind of celebrating this particular meat that is alpaca that have a very interesting and unique taste. It's something similar with this other dish. So that's something glad that have Kyoye and make it special. One of the 50 best restaurants in all South America.
Okay, and now since we only have a few minutes left, let's you explain very shortly like the story behind the maca roots.
Okay, I'm going to explain really short. Well, the maca root, kind of the weapon that the Inca warriors have. The Incas believed that consuming maca will give their warriors increased strength and stamina, help them to perform better in the battle. And that's one of the reasons because maca is so important in our culture, because we believe that is a really important factor when we are doing this territory agreement to form the Inca Empire that was well known well in the past. And well, maca is also in our culture because have part of our religion, traditions, and also it's important in health because we have a lot of nutrients and that. And finally, this is a little story time, a legend that we have here. That is this magical couple that we have here, this Manco Capac and Mama Oyo. This couple, this legend couple, as the myth says, the sun god give send them to find the Inca civilization, and they emerged from the Titicaca Lake to the north, going to the north, find the Inca Empire first population there. Also, sun god gives them a golden staff, and the legend says that where this staff, this golden staff, were sink on the earth, this will be the site where the Inca Empire will be built. So they travel all around this territory until they reach the Wanakawari Sacred Valley. On the next slide. And finally, this golden staff sinks to the earth, and they decided a place when they were going to build this new civilization. And there is a place where Machu Picchu was built, actually. That's why Cusco is the capital of the Inca Empire. Manco Cápac was the first to speak and tell to them that he was the son of God, and teach them how to hunt, sword, and do the harvest, and also how to build canals and houses there. And then is Mama Okio, that speaks to women how to take care of the houses, the family, and also to weave the alpaca wool and make the clothes that they use and all they have this all particular things in our clothes right nowadays as part of our culture. And finally, the Inca Empire was built using these three statements, powerful statements, but really important ones that are Amasua, do not steal, Amakeya, do not lie, and Amayuya, do not be lazy. And that's it. That's how the Inca Empire was created. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Joyce, Lisa. It was a great presentation. Actually, that's only one part that I didn't like. It's because I thought that only cooking class was going to make me starve, but right now virtual tours also help me to feel like that way. So right now I need to eat something because the photos of the dishes were very, very great. But thank you for the presentation. Oh, why am I seeing? Okay, now I can see it, no problem. So is there any question to Joyce? No questions? All good? Okay, so that's fine. So thank you very much, Joyce. And just quickly update, right? Just make sure you guys should submit your section 3 part by tomorrow. Okay, and you can already start working on your full draft. So you can already take all the sections together and start to create your final report. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. Oh, and next weekend we will have a cooking class, right, Beatrix? Yes.
Yeah, so if you really want to star Raphael a little bit more, maybe you can present as a food. I'm a big foodie, but I also do love to travel. So maybe next week you want to join me. I will share my email so that you can email me if you would like to have a cooking class. And again, I also loved your presentation, Joyce. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Actually, like for the restaurants, I do recognize that I cheated. I looked up all the food before I chose.
You can't do it. It's not
Okay.
fair.
Thank you so much, Joyce. It was really interesting, and we learned a lot about the culture and its places about Peru and Cusco.
Yeah.
One question. Are you from Cusco?
No, I'm from Lima, actually. It will be more interesting being from Cusco, but I love that city. It's an amazing city, and it's like traveling to the past. It's incredible how alive is the culture there. So yeah, I love Cusco.
Lima is the capital of Peru, right?
Nowadays, Lima is the capital, but it's more cosmopolitan. So yeah, it's not that interesting. But there are some things.
Yeah. I mean, city, there are a lot of things to do the city, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. But okay, thank you guys and see you next weekend. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you for